Animal rescue is so much more than just picking up an animal in need off the roads, off the streets. It's the work afterwards that smacks you in the face real bad if you're not prepared, because it is such a strain if you don't have the correct facilities, support, finances. You're gonna really feel it, and I would really like to share my story with you, because so many of you have helped me personally and GDS get where it is today. We decided to move to Spain in 2007 to escape the British weather and to have a more outdoorsy life. Jamie's father was a famous bullfighter. It's where Jamie originally grew up, and he was surrounded by animal cruelty growing up as a child. He was very surprised at just how bad it still was when we got back here. I absolutely love Murcia. I love the countryside of Murcia. I love the beaches, I love running alongside the beaches. I love it that the kids have a very free life. They don't have the pressures that they maybe would have felt in the UK. But if you're an animal lover, there is a sadness about the place. The stray dogs, they were everywhere, and they were starving, they were dying, they were being hit by cars. I really was struggling inside with that. Papa, come on. All right. Shortly after we moved to Spain, the dream crashed. The economy crashed, and that meant that Jamie had to go back to the UK to work. He was commuting back and forth. It was horrible, of course it was. You know, the kids had to say goodbye to him. I had to count the days till he came back. We're in a foreign country. I wasn't yet fluent in Spanish. And it felt like a very vulnerable time. I've travelled a lot in the past on my own. This time I had 2 young children. I decided to take some action. It was just really a choice of, if we're going to continue living here, I have to do something about this. There is no way I can carry on living in Murcia and every day just walk past this problem. It just felt inhumane. So I decided to do something about it and start picking the dogs up, which was kind of crazy because I had nowhere to put them. It got to the point where even the kids wouldn't get to school on time. The amount of birthday parties they missed because we would find a galgo on the way, and those rescues can often take hours. think I was seen as the crazy lady pretty early on. When I decided to set up Galgos del Sol, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it because we didn't have any land and we have a 2-bed apartment. It just got to the point where I did whatever I had to do. So they would go in the lounge, the bathroom. It was, I think at one point we had about 14 in a very, very small space, and I had to walk them constantly and try to hide them from the neighbours so that I didn't get into trouble. It just put my family under a lot of pressure. The kids were so young, and when a dog came in that was maybe sick or I wasn't sure about, I would often sleep in the car just to keep that dog safe for the night until I could get to the vets. Then fate would have it, a lady called Gaynor rang me, and she also loves galgos, and she said to me, "Hey Tina, I want to give you a piece of my land to build some kennels and put some dogs there. You don't have to give me any money, I just want to lend it to you for a while until you get yourself sorted." And I was like, wow. And yeah, went down to meet Gaynor, we talked, and got out there and started raising money to build the kennels. We built some kennels on €900, and it was Les, Gaynor's husband, that built the kennels. Yeah, it was great. We had a lot of volunteers. I think at the maximum we had about 30 galgos there. Of course, when you have a lot of volunteers, you get a lot of personalities together. Things don't always go so smoothly in that department, and what went from being absolutely brilliant just turned into an absolute nightmare. We had to ask one volunteer to leave because there was just too many problems occurring, and unfortunately, as payback, she went and denounced us to Solera, the animal police, and let them know that we didn't have the licenses, the land licenses that we needed to have to hold more than 5 animals. And Solera came along and shut us down. Told me I had 30 days to move all the dogs. Yeah, I was really, really angry that somebody could do that to the dogs. One volunteer just took it all away from us, it just so quickly, and after that I find it very hard to trust anybody again. That pretty much changed the way I felt and the way I worked to this very day. Soprano's coming back in less than 30 days to check they're gone. Not only did we have to find somewhere for those dogs, but there were still new dogs coming in off the streets that needed help. Then I got a phone call from a lady to say, sadly, an elderly lady had just died locally, and she'd left behind a 16-year-old Jack Russell, and could I take the dog? I have no idea in that moment why I said yes. Because not only have I got a load of galgos I need to find somewhere to go, what am I going to do with a 16-year-old Jack Russell? It was for a reason. I got to this finca and there was... It was the perfect situation, I thought in that moment, to put the dogs. So we moved all the dogs over to the finca. Actually living with a lot of dogs in a situation where they're not contained was pretty horrendous. The drainage did not cope. The dogs were jumping in, the dogs were jumping out. The pressure, the intensity The fact more dogs were still arriving all the time. And Jamie felt the solution was, as more and more dogs were coming in, was to find a bigger finca. He found a finca with a lot more land, and the house was up on stilts. So it meant we would have our free space and the kennels and dogs could go below, giving us some breathing space. The problem is the dogs were just coming in so fast that we ended up keeping the first finca as well. So now we had two fincas to look after. And now not only is Jamie working in the UK, but we're almost living separately when he comes back, because I'm having to look after both places and sleep wherever the dogs needed me the most. Jamie obviously got very, very concerned about the situation because it was way too much work for one person. When he's in the UK, he couldn't help me, and his concern and advice to slow down started turning into arguments. Not only am I looking after almost 100 Galgos by now, but I have 2 children that I'm bringing up. And with Jamie back and forth in different countries, it was a huge strain. He was worried, I was defensive, and arguments began. Our heads were in a vice, and when Jamie was coming back, I had absolutely no time to see him whatsoever. Okay, yes, I could have brought in volunteers, but look what happened the first time. From the cleaning point of view, just forget it, I couldn't go through that again. The responsibility of all these dogs is so huge, and the thought that we could be closed down any minute is crippling. We had to get through it, and yeah, we didn't. We really didn't. The arguments just got worse and worse. We just basically lived in a refuge, and we didn't just live in one refuge, we had to keep travelling back and forth to look after 2 refuges. It broke us. The pressure, the arguments, everything just got too much, and I left and went back to the other finca. I broke Jamie's heart, the kids' hearts, my heart. It was a really difficult time. I could not see clearly, and I'm sure many, many people judge me for that, but they were not walking in my shoes. In about April 2014, we started to look for a piece of land for GDS. Something of this scale, the way that GDS is growing, it cannot be run from your home. I just don't believe that. You cannot get the boundaries that you need. It's not long term, it's not sustainable. Yep, it was time to build a centre. The thing that really drove me to find this piece of land and to get things going was the fact that we would have the correct licenses, and we can't get those licenses on the fincas. To raise money for the land, we had an anonymous donor that said he would triple all the donations, and the supporters were crazy. They went crazy. We raised that money in a few months, over 100,000 euros to buy this piece of land to get started. We had so much fun. We danced, we sang. It wasn't long before I really started to see straight again and realised that I miss my family being together so much. I guess the realization of what I had done, what I couldn't see, what I could see now, was coming to light, and I asked if we could try again with professional help so that we could learn to live with the dogs until the centre was built and until the dogs could move over. The light was at the end of the tunnel, and we were all just so happy to be back together and to give it that shot. Around the time that we started fundraising for the land, one of the things I accepted was I had to find somebody I could trust that could help me on the ground. Finding somebody that I could trust, and not trust in a way not going to tell little secrets or things like that. I mean, I'm talking about trust as in they feel the burden of the charity. They want the charity to succeed as much as I do. And I'm telling you, it was not easy finding someone, but we found her. We found her, and that person was Sam. And Sam is one of the most incredible people. She is here for all the right reasons, and I trust her 110%. I trust her with this charity. I trust her with me, with my feelings, with my family, my boundaries. The new rescue and education centre is going to make so much difference for the Galgos and Podencos here in Murcia and other breed of dogs, for my family, especially my children. My kids are going to be able to study, to sleep, to train. Both my kids are very athletic. They do triathlon. We are now a much stronger Galgos del Sol, a much stronger family unit. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that has supported Galgos del Sol, or myself, or my children, or my family in some way, whether it be a donation, emotional support, a comment on Facebook, a like on Facebook, a share, anything at all. Thank you so much. We are making this centre happen, and it can't happen without you. Thank you.